And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. We'll look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. With me side by side in person for a change this week is my co-host Erick Simpson, who is a business transformation and consulting expert for MSPs and other IT providers. Erick, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Rich. Doing pretty good here in beautiful Atlanta.
And not hot Atlanta this week, I should say. A little bit cooler maybe than folks would expect in this part of the world, but gorgeous and sunny outside.
And we are at the ChannelPro Atlanta Summit.
Absolutely. Our very first SMB forum event of the year. We've got 4 of them this year. We'll be doing another one in Chicago in a couple of months. In September, we'll be in San Jose. We'll be in the Newark, New Jersey region in November. Events.channelpronetwork.com if you want to look it up. I encourage you to attend. Erick actually is one of our speakers.
And is San Jose, is that the first time we've done one in San Jose?
This will be the second time, but it's been a while since we've been in Northern California, so looking forward to that.
You bet.
Well, let's dive into the top story of the week here, which concerns a company called ID Agent that I am going to guess a lot of our viewers are familiar with. Now, they, in a lot of ways, came out of nowhere. They really only entered the channel in about May 2017, but they went out into the channel with a dark web monitoring service that goes out and it looks into essentially the criminal underworld, the criminal black market where stolen credentials are bought and sold. And it can send you alerts when customers that you are managing have stolen credentials show up down there if any of their IDs are compromised. That in and of itself has proven to be a really kind of compelling service that a lot of MSPs are very interested in offering. But the other thing that has sort of propelled ID Agent into the awareness of the channel is just that this tool has turned out to be a phenomenally effective sales resource, because you can go into a sales meeting with a client armed with data about stolen passwords that you found on the dark web, and show them that they need to be investing in security generally, and doing that with you specifically because you, and maybe not their existing MSP or IT provider, was aware of this way in which they were exposed. So 0 MSPs in their channel, May 2017, there are over 1,300 now. And this week they took their first really big step beyond that dark web monitoring offering. They now have a security awareness training offering as well, which, if you think about it, is a very nice complement to a dark web monitoring kind of service. If you are turning up evidence of employees perhaps falling for phishing attacks, and that's how their IDs wind up in the dark web, here's a service that you can use both to test end users and see who is maybe susceptible to a phony kind of phishing attack, and then guide them, give them some instruction on what went wrong and what they can do to be safer than that. So for ID Agent, it's kind of a significant thing. It shows that they are going to be broadening beyond just dark web. And in fact, they told me that they have additional solutions in the works. They're going to be building out more and more of a portfolio of security solutions. The other thing, though, that debuted along with this new service was a new pricing scheme in which the prices actually went down. So they are bundling the security awareness training feature together with their flagship dark web monitoring service. And so it's all one price. You get both of those things. And those prices have actually dropped as the scale of their operation is increased. They feel like they can afford to do that. So existing ID Agent partners are now getting more functionality from their subscription at a lower price, which is kind of an interesting thing.
Right, and to me, kind of expected, right? It's a very hot market right now for security awareness training, and I know ID Agent has a couple of competitors out there that are doing kind of the same thing, and the ability to scan prospects' domains and things like that, and uncover, compromised data that's being sold on the dark web is a great sales prospecting tool. I train partners, as part of our managed security sales training service, how to do that as well. But of course, once you've secured the network and cleaned everything up and done everything you can do, the biggest attack surface is going to be the end users, who are the ones that are clicking on those nasty payloads in emails. And in fact, some of the greatest compromises and greatest hacks we've seen have been because of an internal user clicking a phishing email. The Sony breach comes to mind. So great. One thing that was unexpected though was the lowering of the price to play, which is always welcome. So really, it's really a competitive market, and I think they're doing some strategic moves to really try to grab more and more market share.
And you mentioned that there are other companies out there offering dark web monitoring. I mean, a lot of the vendors that have added dark web monitoring either specialize in security awareness training or have a security awareness training offering of their own, and they've been sort of branching into dark web as well. It's interesting to see ID Agent go from dark web into security awareness, and not necessarily to counter that move exactly, but effectively to wind up doing that. So you were talking about sales prospecting a moment ago, but I believe your tip of the week has to do more in the realm of lead generation.
Yeah, so I mean, you think about sales prospecting, and what that does is uncover opportunities for you to sit down with net new business owners, net new logos that you may not have had the opportunity to do business with before. And so, this week's tip of the week is all about growing your referral network. In the past, we've talked a little bit about, the dangers of building a business based solely on referrals because of the unpredictability of forecasting sales and things like that, and really maturing into a true marketing organization selling services to end user customers where you can control the budget and identify ROI and based upon performance, forecast growth. But we don't want to turn away those referrals because essentially the referrals should be our easiest new opportunities to close. So the tip of the week here is to, if you haven't already, and maybe you're doing this, unintentionally, right? So by accident, you're building referral networks with other vendors that serve your target audience, right? Copy or repair folks, good old-fashioned phone vendors are still out there, and of course, we can speculate what's going to happen with them. But anyone that delivers services to your target audience, even, one of the best referral sources that we had, Rich, when we were an MSP, was a moving company that we partnered with. They knew way in advance when somebody was going to move offices. And so we built a huge a bit of business with them, referring business to us, and then us, referring business as we could to them as well. Cabling companies, we didn't do cabling then, so we had a great referral network there. Hosting, and all these other ancillary services that a small business owner needs that we don't deliver ourselves, accounting services, attorney, legal services. So building strong referral relationships mean that you also are going to reciprocate by providing referrals. A couple of caveats: make sure that you have a nice NDA in place and a non-compete. Just take care of some of that paperwork, and then share in those referrals, and it'll significantly grow your business if you're doing it right. So you don't have to rely 100% on spending money to get those leads up front.
Everybody, like you were saying, referrals are the most common source of leads among the VARs and MSPs typically. But when people talk about referrals, they're typically talking about referrals from their end users, from the clients essentially, and that is a very important source of prospects. And you want to be disciplined about that and make sure you're always asking for referrals like that. But it is really important to point out that you can get referrals from other sources as well, including business partners.
Absolutely, and that's the distinction here. This is your referral network of vendors. Now, of course, you're always going to go ask for referrals from your existing clients, at least in every quarterly business review, if not more often.
Now, I got to say, we got time for one more story here, Eric. And I've got a pretty good job. I like my job. You've got a pretty good job, right? There might be one job that's actually even a little bit better that we were just reading about earlier this week, and it's being offered out of England by Mondelez International. Maybe or maybe not a company you've heard of, but you've probably heard of some of the products that they make: Cadbury chocolate bars, Oreo cookies. The folks at Mondelez are looking for a professional chocolate taster. How would you like to make $14 an hour tasting chocolate? And just letting them know they need people who can kind of help them get the flavor profile right. That means you're going to have to eat a lot of Oreos and just kind of help them refine that taste. Professional chocolate taster. I kind of like the sound of that, Eric.
I do too. I think, what do you do to prepare your taste buds for something like that? We're going to have to speculate later.
Yeah, exactly. What is the training regimen for a professional chocolate taster? Well, that is all of the time we have this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back again next week with another episode of the show. If you like the show, want to keep up to speed on upcoming episodes, maybe take a look at some from the past that you missed. What you want to do is subscribe to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube, and you will find everything you need there. You want to read more about ID Agent, you want to read about business growth strategies, keep up to date with what's happening in the industry, you go to channelpronetwork.com. We have got all sorts of great content for you showing up there every day. To learn more about Erick and his business and the work that he does with his clients, you want to go to www.ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. That is our show for this week. We'll be back again soon. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Erick and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.